Okay, we're going to do another polybag real quick tonight. And it's a Quidditch game with Cho Chang, I believe, who has apparently quite an odd name for someone of Asian descent. I was reading somewhere. But I can't even open it. Seriously. I don't think I've got her as a minifigure though. So every time I think of her name, I think of a song by a group. I'm not going to name that sings things. So anyway, let's get going. Not much else to say. It's a pretty small set, and in fact it looks smaller than I was expecting, but that's okay. I have a small problem at the moment, is that my arm hurts in a weird way, and I'm not too sure what the problem is. It started a few days ago. I thought I just slept on my arm the whole night and I'd done something to it, and I think that's actually what has happened. But it really is quite painful, and it's like, oh, there's something else gone wrong. It's fine at the moment, but every so often it really hurts, like all the way up. It's just like something with the nerves. So I'm like, oh, what on earth has happened this time? What new ailment? Just when everything gets fine, something else shows up. But I feel like if I go to the doctors, it will be like gone the moment I make an appointment. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I can hear something going, but it's actually the bag with the poly bags in it that's slowly moving down a pile of stuff. So good news is I'm managing to tidy a lot of things up, and so I'm finding things and doing stuff, and it's all very exciting. I have more space, and I'm preventing myself from buying something to fill up the space straight away. I wanted to buy this bicycle because it's really, really cheap, and it's a bike that I've wanted for years, a particular thing, because I have my first major bike as an adult. Well, my first major bike as an adult was a Specialized hard rock, which I still have and I like, but the better version at that time when I bought it was the Specialized rock hopper. And there's a rock hopper of the same type as when I got my original thing. It's the same color as well. And it's real cheap. It's like secondhand. And I'm like, oh, I've got enough bikes. I can't buy this one. But this one will be cool. This is like a cool bike. And I was like, well, no. So I made some room, and I've actually got enough room to put it in. But that would be bad. So I'm not going... I never know. Like I've managed to not buy it for it's been sitting in the shop for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm like, man, I would have bought that bike ages ago if I was looking for a bike. But it's one of those bikes that actually would be really good if you're a commuter, but because it's like, you know, basically 20 years old, most people will be like, no, I'm going to buy my fancy new bike, and it's like, no, you'd be fine with that bike, but you just need a bit of a service, I'm sure. It's like, you know, a reasonably lightweight bike, and has a good pair of shocks on it, I suppose. Like, I'm pretty sure that would require a fair bit of work, but for the price, I'd definitely get by that if I was getting into cycling. Anyway, I mean, the thing with when you buy a bike, and I think this is the most important thing to remember, if you use a bike on a regular basis, you're going to end up replacing certain parts after a while anyhow. And so, like, you know, the drivetrain at some point, if you ride it like, you know, thousands of kilometers every year, then as your main form of transport, then all that stuff's going to eventually get replaced. So buying a second-hand bike is, you're just basically buying the frame, and the frames last for a long time unless you do something bizarre. And manage to break the frame. And so everything else you're basically over time going to replace. So it doesn't really matter if it's second hand, as long as it does the job and it's, you know, reasonably light. That's how I feel about these things. The bike that I'm currently riding, I really, after having a comment to someone, because when I first got into cycling, I took my bike into the shop and they were like, "Oh, you've worn down your crank gear things, and you're going to need to get, or you've worn down the rear cassette thing and you have to replace that because it's all worn down, or your chain's too long and you have to replace it." And it was like, I didn't really have to replace it. Like, I could have gone, you know, for quite a lot longer before I had to replace it. And it was like, you know, it's a bit annoying. That's what they do at the shop. They tell you that you need to buy these things when you don't really. I mean, you do if you're like a pro athlete and you really have to get everything perfect. But if you're just commuting around, you'll be able to get by with the very odd gear slips. It's not. I mean, even then, you know, it's just not a thing. But this current bike is like, okay, it's getting to the point actually where it is too worn and I do have to replace it. And I actually have all the parts to replace it. It's like, I've got a ton of these things, but I just have to get organized. But at the moment it's fine. I'm not actually in urgent need. It's just occasionally I make a fool of myself when I go to change gears. But my point is that, you know, any bike you're going to have to replace everything. So that's my discussion for this evening. I've been thinking about it. Oh my gosh! Speaking of which, just after the last video, which I've kind of misplaced, I was talking about Harry Potter and their Quidditch things. Here we go. How much better this would have been. Like, she'd look so much cooler with this one, wouldn't she? Look at that. That's a Quidditch broom, don't you think? Look at that, amazing. Whereas this is kind of like, this is a piece they've had for what, 30, 40 years must be. Kind of, maybe they had another one that wasn't so, maybe they've done some revisions on this, but it feels like it's been around for a while. Anyway, not 40 years, surely not 40 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So she's going to go on one side, she's going to be flying like this. How convincing is that? We've got to turn her arm around, I think. How convincing is that going to be? Probably mildly at best. Nah, who knows? And now we have to make the little, you know, snitch thing, which is good. You get this. You get the little special piece. It's quite neat. There's an awful lot of pieces left over. I feel like I've missed something. Oh, I know what I've done. Oh my gosh. Time for the brick tool. Completely missed like the most useful part of this entire thing. It's not going to work on these pieces, is it? No, it's not. Well, that's okay. I can kind of force it off. Okay, let's get this. Oh gosh, ruined the whole thing. What happened to the other bit? What? It's gone. It's just completely gone. Okay. That's not the way you meant to do it. So it's got to go like that. Okay, but now I've gone and lost a piece. What did I do with it? Oh, who knows? It's here somewhere. Anyway, so the bit with that was there is all gone. So we'll put those back on. We're missing that thing there is what I'm trying to say. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. No, we're not missing it. That's actually, oh my gosh. Okay. There's not two, there's one. And they go like that. And then there's gold ones on the side. Like that. Everything's happy. And then finally we can put her back where she belongs, flying around in circles. It's her only goal in life. I've read the books. I know how it goes. And there we go. And there we go. And now she flies. She can't Have I done it right? Because you can't really see. Like I kind of would like. You want to get it so that you can see her face, because otherwise it's not that exciting. Alright. Yeah, she has to be all the way up the top, so that you can see her face, but she doesn't hit anything. I think that works actually. Whee! So you can kind of see how it goes, and you get a lot of spare pieces. So. After all that silliness, that was quite a lot of fun, and she spins around chasing that. So that's quite neat. Like, if I was a Harry Potter collecting Lego fan, which I am, I would be completely satisfied with the set there for the price. It's a good way to get a minifigure, and it's got some fun pieces in it, and it tries to be... Her hair fell off. It tries to be what it needs to be. This evening I did go to try buy some more Lego from the shop that I get the cheap Lego from, but they've taken away all the old season sets that were possibly going to become cheap but didn't become cheap. So now they've only got the current season ones, and it's like, where do they put the old ones? Because they did this once before. They took them away, and then sometimes they appear later on. But they did have one. I did buy one set. That is the last season, but it was actually another one. No, it's actually this one here. So I bought another one of these, and now I've got two. This one's also got a cut through here, so hopefully all the pieces are there. But it was cheap. So now I have two of them. So one of them is not made. But anyway, other than that. Looks like the end of the cheap Lego season. So thanks for watching. I have more polybags to go, and I have to go back to the shop to pick up some new ones, which I probably will do in a few days. Thanks for watching. Nothing else to say. Bye.